And money's out there, man. It's so easy to be made at this job.
Yeah.
So a lot of the older guys that are ready to retire, they don't want to work.
Oh yeah.
So hey man, I'll pay you, $350 to work my shift. Shit, all right.
I'm like, deal, let's cash money.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I'll do $350.
You got any plans after this fight, or you just this fight and you haven't got anything else scheduled out?
No, I mean, there's talks, man. I actually got offered to replace Melvin Gillard in the bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
But it's just not worth it, man. It looks nice, 100K sounds nice, but it takes a jab and your orbital bone's crushed, and then now what?
Yeah, orbital's crushed.
Just the insurance alone.
Exactly. So it just wasn't worth it, and I'll just take it as it comes. See what happens.
I got asked because Lugo was.
Yeah, he's gonna fight. He signed a contract to
He
fight.
signed up, and they're worried that he's gonna back out, and they asked me if I'll get a guarantee behind him if he backs out within a week. I
Is
said,
that for the bare knuckle or?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I said, yeah, I said, shoot me with a contract.
2, 3. It's showtime Thursday here at MMA Fight Pass. Welcome to the HammerFist podcast live in Selma, California from Spike and Rail. We want to give a shout out to Tom Owens, our co-host Anaconda, feeling under the weather, man. Prayers out his way, everybody. We got the Boston here, man. Big Van, WC vet, current Tachi Palace vet, and we got the Pit Bull, man. They call him the crime fighter, the cage fighter, and we're gonna spend an hour with him, man. Just chopping him up, man, picking his mind, getting ready for Tachi Palace fights a little over a week from today. So kick back, grab something to eat. If you're not watching that game on TV, well, you could do both. Check us out. We're getting ready to do some business. So what's going on, guys?
Not much.
Another day.
Yeah. So how's the training been going? How you feeling on it?
Training's good. Been training 2 to 3 times a day between strength and conditioning, my grappling, and then obviously my striking. I feel good. I feel strong. I haven't fought at 170 in probably about a good 4 years, 5 years since the amateurs. I mean, and even then it was like when I first started. So it feels good to not have to kill myself to make weight, and I still feel strong. I'm still full. I eat good. So it's going good.
I'm jealous of that, man. I mean, I saw your Insta and you posted at 178, man.
Yeah, 178. Just about an hour ago, I woke up at 178. So, I mean, I haven't even started cutting yet. I'm eating 4 or 5 meals a day still, drinking about 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water a day, plus my energy drinks to stay awake. So, yeah, it's good. I like it. I can have an occasional Reese's peanut butter cup after a hard day of training. So, I like it, man.
That's it. One of the questions Tom had, our co-host, he said that to ask you, how is the reaction from your peers, man?
Especially from the
knowing
law enforcement side.
Yeah, and that side, and I know through the years they've always done like Battle of the Badges, so you do have guys that, and they're even coach, has done that. But now another generation, and a lot of different mindsets for these young guys coming out.
They've all been really supportive. It was something that I was a little bit nervous about going into law enforcement. Because people kind of get this bad rap of, so you just like beating people up. Well, no, it's a sport. It's competition. That's all it is. It's no different than baseball, than football, anything. It's competition. Mine just happens to be a combat sport. Yeah. But obviously with law enforcement, there's the liability of lawsuits, everything that comes with it. I put my hands on somebody and use something that's not exactly what they call it's post-certified, and everybody looks at me like, oh, well, this guy, aren't you trained to hurt people? Aren't you? And so I was worried that people would be real critical of that. But I mean, for the most part, they've all been really supportive. I know there's a lot of officers, especially older officers, that talk to me all the time that, hey man, when's the next one? Hey, how's it going? A lot of the young guys that are coming in, they want to train, they want to learn, and because they know that, I mean, on any given call, it can turn into a life or death kind of call, and they would rather have that training and that knowledge to be able to at least survive until backup gets there. We got backup 3 minutes away, 5 minutes away. So if you can hang on just for a little bit, you know, and you'll be okay. But yeah, it's been good, and they all support it, and they like it, and they ask questions all the time, and so it's good, it's enjoyable.
And you said that some of the younger guys are coming in and asking you to train.
Right.
I think from a public standpoint, from someone who's not in law enforcement,
Right.
You know, I've been on ride-alongs, I've done, but knowing somebody that's going out there that can take a punch and has been punched
Right.
and understands what to do during that time,
Right.
I think the new ones coming in, I mean, you've been punched in the mouth and you've given it out 1,000 times over,
Yeah.
you know. But them to see that and to feel that, I think that's got to aid to the fact of it keeping people safe. And I mean,
Right.
this not knowing where somebody's coming from, I mean, that's got to weigh on you personally.
Yeah, you know, it's always, you get these calls and you come across these guys who just, they're not going with the program. You try and talk them down as much as possible, and you don't. And sometimes, you know, personally, I've seen it where some guys that have no background whatsoever in any kind of combat or even, you know, not even like high school wrestling, you know,
Right.
which, you know, you could have wrestled a year in high school and you still have more training than some people, you know, than most people. And I think a lot of them kind of get a little, I don't want to say badge heavy, but they know that, you know, hey, I'm the law. You got to listen to me, you know,
Right.
and I think that confidence or something in them just kind of spikes them a little bit, and they get a little bit hyped up. And I always kind of think like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna come across a guy who just doesn't care that you're in a badge, that you wear a badge,
yeah.
that you're in a uniform, and he's gonna smack you in the mouth.
Start
And
heading towards
and-
Kings Canyon area. That's
yeah.
gonna, I mean, they don't care.
Yeah, the other areas, you know, southwest areas, I got buddies that work down there, and I mean, it's nonstop, man. Really, anywhere in Fresno, it's busy. It's always on the go. It's just a different type of busy depending on what part of town you're in, and you know, a lot of these younger guys, they say that, you know, they'll talk to me afterwards. Hey, man, you know, I've really never been into a fight. I've never, even growing up, you know, like I want to learn how to train, and it does. It makes you think, me anyways, because I have the background in what I do. I feel almost like, okay, I got to watch over these guys on the call, but then I feel like that can also leave me vulnerable because I'm paying more attention to my partners and making sure, hey, are you good, as opposed to the guy standing next to me, you know, or in front of me, like, you know, missing the little signs like, okay, he just balled up his fists, here we go,
Right.
you know, because I'm looking over here at the guy who's balling up his fists at my partner, wondering, man, if this guy hits my partner,
Leaning right and dropping that head like
right,
you're
exactly, you know, square, you know, getting in this little stance, and it makes you wonder, and it makes you think. But you know, overall, we do get a basic, very, very basic training. It isn't much, but it's something we do. And a lot of guys do step out and they take initiative and they find training on their own. I got a good friend of mine who's a, you know, he's a motorcycle cop. He's a motor, and he trains at my jiu-jitsu gym, and he loves it, you know. And it's
Right.
one of those where once they just get into it, they fall in love with the sport and the art, and it goes from there. So I definitely think more law enforcement officers should get involved in combat sports. So.
And I think you're leading the way in the fact of, because I mean, you're branded already. You're known
Right.
very much locally, and there's people nationally that are outreaching to you just for the combat side. But
Right.
to bring the police side, I mean, that might be a business venture you can tackle down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's something that hopefully in the future, you know, maybe 15, 20 years down the road, that's something I can kind of give back to. My strength and conditioning coach right now, former Navy SEAL, the guy's a monster. And he's in the process, mainly with Clovis PD. He's got a lot of help from Clovis PD, but they're doing it to where they can get him as basically the head trainer for like SWAT guys and this and that. He's already been approved by posts and things. So something like that to give back. We do have a guy, Josh Bowling with Fresno PD. He's out at the training facility. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu, and he owns his own gym in Visalia. A jiu-jitsu school out there, and I mean, that was the first person people told me to go talk to. Hey man, talk to Josh. He knows all about, you know, the liability that comes with it, you know, what you got to worry about, how to, and I mean, every time I see him, the guy's amazing. He's a great guy, and we'll sit there and we'll talk about it and talk about certain things. And so that aspect of, you know, somebody who's been in law enforcement for so long, as well as in a combat sport, it's kind of helped me and made me a little more lax as far as, like, you know, I know that I can do what I have to do if I need to,
Right.
you know, without having to worry about, oh man, you know, I can't do this, and now next thing you know, I'm getting stabbed, or I'm getting,
Right.
you know. So yeah, I mean, it's good, and it's something I hope in the future I can give back.
That's awesome. I mean, you're just starting out in your career on that. I like the fact that you're prepping yourself for future, and that's a good thing. You know.
Right.
No, I was just thinking about stuff. I know the experience of him coming in as a fighter, apprehending somebody. A lot of times, you see guys out there, they go into panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're a fighter, you got to discipline to fight at a pace, not at a panic.
Right.
And that, with that experience, excuse me, of what he's getting into, it's going to help. I remember the first time I was on a call, and this was in Orange County. We got a call from to serve a warrant on somebody. This guy had been in and out of the penitentiary for 12 years. 5'10", about 210 pounds.
Oh, man, that's a
built
big
like
guy.
a brick shit.
Yeah, big guy.
And I went out there with Sergeant. He went in. I checked, waiting for backup to come in, and they went in there, asked for the mother, where his son was there. We were here to his son was born. And he's not here. He hadn't been here. Blah blah blah, whatever. And so he said, "Well, we're gonna check." So we went to clear up the place. Went back there, seen a little room. Sure enough, man, there he is. And they went in it, got in a tangle and everything like that. Guys going out the door, and Sergeant got dropped. Backup came in there, got the guy, and kicked him, in the groin area, knocked his testicles about 3 inches into him. Anyways, guy got back up, grabbed the dude, choked him out, dropped the sergeant down. The backup guy came and told him to stop. Fired off a round. The guy wouldn't stop. And anyways, the guy turned around to him and shot him.
Yeah.
Shot him. I mean, blew his heart out of his chest. I'll remember it like it was right now. Guy got back up and walked towards him. And when we went back to briefing, he said, "Those are the guys you're going to meet on the street every day."
Yep.
Welcome to Orange County.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's coming home, officer survival, man.
Yeah,
And that's what matters.
You never know what these guys are hopped up on nowadays, and some, they don't feel anything.
Oh, yeah. And now from back then to now, oh, my God. All the synthetic stuff and everything that's being made.
Yeah.
You don't know, man.
You see a lot of these videos online and stuff that's going on, and these the officer involved shootings and things, and I always sit there and I think, there was a point leading up where had they had training, it would have never escalated to that point, and I think that's where a lot of officers, in my opinion, a lot of officers fail to prepare. They always say, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Well, that's the way I see it. Is a lot of these guys, some of it may not be within policy of your department or something, but if you can use something you've learned that is effective and works, and you can neutralize the threat without having to take a life, I mean, I don't see too many people or too many departments being upset about that. Nobody wants to take a life. Nobody wants to pull their gun out and shoot somebody. Obviously, it's something that comes with the job. But I think a lot of things, not all, but a lot of situations can be avoided had training, had there been a training background leading up. So definitely I think that's something that helps me out and keeps me kind of grounded as far as in certain situations where I know that, okay, if need be, I know that, I possess the skills to handle this situation without, they say there's always at least one gun at every call. And if it's not somebody else's, it's yours. And if you can not only protect your gun side, but neutralize the threat, by controlling somebody until backup comes, and you dogpile this guy and cuff him. Well, hey, it's a win-win. Nobody got hurt, nobody got killed, and you guys affected the job. So
minimize damage.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And that's it. And it's hard because a lot of things that you see, on TV or online now, or whatever. there's so many things that you don't know that led up to.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the 20 minutes
No.
before they try talking about
Everybody
it.
jumps on the
Exactly.
bandwagon
Yeah.
for the negative side, but you don't know unless you're there. You
Yeah.
can't give an honest answer.
And I was one of those guys. You know, before I got into law enforcement, I never wanted to be a cop. It was something, you know, it's crazy. As a kid, I always knew people would ask me, what are you going to do? Well, I want to be a professional fighter. I want to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if that doesn't work? Well, I think it's either going to be the military or law enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, how come? Well, I got a lot of family in the military. I got a lot of family in law enforcement, and I think that's just the best way I'm going to go. I can't sit at a desk all day long. I'll go crazy. And you know, I used to see these videos, and I used to be one of these guys, like, man, you know, stupid cops and this and this and that. And it's different once you get out there and once you really see it. And like Van said, the 20 minutes leading up to it, where you tried to talk the guy down, where you used every single form of what, you know, we call verbal judo, and it didn't work, you know, and then it resulted in it escalated, and the person got heated, and now somebody's losing a life, you know, or coming close to it. And that's also why I encourage a lot of people, you know, obviously if you're not on probation or parole, you don't got no felonies, you know, I always tell guys, hey, look, go on a ride along, man.
Yep.
Just, you know, you want to criticize, go on a ride along, go see what it's like, you know, and every department's going to be different. You know, you go to a smaller agency and you're not going to see as much, you're not going to handle as many calls, but you go to a place like, you know, like Fresno PD, you can go to any area in Fresno and you're going to witness 10 to 15 different scenarios that you wouldn't in a million years have imagined happen. You know, when I was growing up, going into Fresno, I never would have thought, like, man, there's this many types of calls. Like, man, people are doing this right now. You know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. People are really still fighting, you know, and then you see it, and you can kind of get a better understanding of how things can escalate so quickly and how things change on the dime, you know. So I always encourage people to go on a ride along, go see what it's like before you talk, before you point the finger.
It's crazy, man. I remember my older brother, he was a reserve, and at that time I was living in Southern California, and he was working for Stanton PD. Stanton's 25 miles. They got gangs, they got drugs, they got prostitution, 25 miles of hell. And I went on a, because he goes, dude, he goes, after you get out of school, you should, you know, do it. So when he went through the boot camp, I ran with him, and I did all that stuff with him and all that. So I went on a ride along with him and one of the sergeants. And at that time, there was this place in Stanton. We used to go to the boxing club there. So I kind of knew, and I had cousins that lived there in Solario right there. And they'd go in there, and they had the best dispute, you know, husband and wife fighting. It's Saturday night, obviously. Mexican, you know, that's normal. Grew up seeing it, so I knew. But the sergeant was white, and I went to junior high with the daughter. I didn't know her dad was a sheriff or a cop. So anyways, went, and he told the person, and the guy played the card, oh, I don't understand English, blah, 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 blah. If she tells me something, I'm going to hit her again, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So anyways, he said, you know what? He goes, I'm on patrol tonight. He goes, and if I have to come back here,
Somebody's going to jail.
I'm going to kick your ass. He
Yep.
goes, do you understand me now? I mean, stuff like that. I was like, whoa. My
Different
brother's
day,
like,
different age,
that's
man.
what you got to do, man. Let these guys understand. They know what you're saying. You know?
Yeah, different day, different age. And
So it is. As you get familiar with it, man, you're going to be picking up those little trades and saying, man, come on. Dude.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, usually I think what helps me is that I come from a background where I'm familiar with the streets. I'm familiar with the gangs. You know, I grew up around it. I grew up around, you know, seeing the drug stuff, seeing the gang stuff, seeing the violence. So for me, I know I can go into, you know, the richest neighborhood and talk to somebody and have a full-on conversation, and then I can go right back down into the slummiest neighborhood, and I can have the same conversation with somebody and get a similar reaction, because I'm not one of these guys that's just putting up a front and trying to act like I know what I'm talking about. I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it, you know, and it helps. And so
you correct your diction to whatever you need.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. They always say, be a chameleon, blend in anywhere, you know, and that's really what I try and do.
That's a lot of time. A lot of people, they don't think that. When I came here, and I'm light complected, you see a lot of Portuguese and all that stuff, and they start talking and everything, and they're talking about you.
Right.
You go around
Right.
and tell them. They look
Right.
at you like, what the hell? Where is this guy's a secret shopper?
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you blend in, man. You gotta
helps
blend in. I've come across a lot of little young gangsters, little young gangbangers, kind of going, not even gangbangers, but just young kids out getting in trouble,
Young kids, yeah.
going down the wrong path. And, I took some guy, to jail a couple weeks ago. This kid, he's like 19 or something. And, he's in the back seat and we're having a full-on conversation. He's like, man, do you like your job? I told him I love it, And I go, look, man, I didn't grow up too much different than you did,
Yeah.
He asked me, you wear those long sleeves because you got tattoos on? I was like, yeah, man, I'm covered in tattoos. Like, that's, I go, you see me outside of a uniform, you'd never guess, We had this full conversation, and this guy knows that, hey, here I am taking him to jail, and just the respect, the conversation we had, and what do I got to do? And he wasn't going for anything big. He had a warrant. And I, what do I got to do to be a cop? I told him, well, first of all, you got to straighten up.
Yeah.
Second, look into the academy.
Yeah.
I go, man, you don't need a high school. All you need is a high school diploma or a GED. You don't need a college degree. You don't need anything like that. And depending on the department you work for, you can break $100K a year.
Right. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna do it. And it's one of those where it's like, all right, this is why I do it. I had that good cop. They kind of reached out to me when I was a kid and I was a troublemaker, and so now when the opportunity presents itself, I try to do the same. And obviously with Coach Williams, right? With Coach Williams, Sergeant Williams, he kind of took me in 8 years ago, took me under his wing, and that was the first thing he said. Hey, man, all that crap you're doing out there in the streets, it's done, or I don't work with you.
Yeah.
And that was it. I cut it all. Our relationship's been great since. So. Yeah, it pays off, definitely.
Oh, hell yeah.
I had the same kind of scenario when I was 16. We're in Hanford, Taco Bell, and that was a meeting place. And
Right.
Bunch of different high schools show up. Fight broke out, and I'm swinging, and I feel a shoulder on my hand, so I just swung wild, caught a cop, and I got dog piled on. I was the focal point of that point.
Right.
And the guy I hit pulled me in the back of his car, and he goes, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 16." He goes, "You're a big kid."
Yeah.
He goes, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Had a nice long talk, and he sat with me, let the crowd go off. He goes, "I'm not taking you in." He goes, "You're young."
Yeah.
What am I gonna say? A 16-year-old knocked me out.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, he had the talk, and all of a sudden I'm realizing I liked doing the rough style,
Right.
lifestyle. But I mean, what is that gonna get me?
Exactly.
He goes, "You got no destination." He goes,
Right.
"You're walking along to nowhere."
To nowhere, exactly. You're on
So-
a path to nowhere.
And I mean, now I got a family and all this stuff, but I still go back to that night where I hit a cop and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die.
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I figured
Yeah.
I was gonna die at that moment
Yeah.
in my life,
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, immature and dumb. I did a dumb thing, and a knowledgeable cop just said, you're not gonna do this anymore.
Right.
Because I see you again, I can run you in. It's not a big deal.
Right.
Because I have priors, we have a bunch of witnesses.
Right.
And I'm like, well, okay. I don't know any different.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, to this day, he still works for Hanford PD,
Yeah.
and I mean, he waves at me and he
Yeah.
asks me how my family's doing, and it's that community that I mean, you do have the chance to shape lives.
Things. Yeah, exactly. And if I can, in this job and what I'm doing, if I can just change one kid's, hey, I'm okay with that. Obviously, the more the better.
Oh, yeah.
The more the merrier, like they say. But at one person, if I can take one kid who's heading down nowhere that reminds me of myself when I was his age, when I was 16, 17, 15,
Yeah.
and I can straighten them out and show them that, man, look, this isn't the way to go. It seems cool because it's what you see everywhere. Your boys might think it's cool, the girls might think it's cool, but man, when you get caught up in some real crap, your boys ain't gonna be there to back you up.
Exactly.
These girls, when you're locked up, these girls are gonna go find somebody else, or they're gonna be with your boys.
Yep.
Straighten out and get things right, and understand that you got a family. That's the thing, is most of these kids are like me. They come single family home, single parent home. Some of them dad's around, but not living there, not being that father figure. Another one, dad's nowhere to be found. And so they don't really have that sense of direction of where are we going, what do I do with my life, how do I be a man.
Right.
The way they see being a man is what you see in the movies and on TV and everywhere
Right.
else. Well, a man deals drugs and has money and carries a gun and does it, and no, man, that's not the way it goes. So yeah, it's rewarding when you can get somebody that you're taking to jail and they're kind of
Right.
like, hey man, thanks, I want to do this. Awesome.
Well, it speaks volume of your character. Because, I mean, if you were a prick the whole way through, he'd be MFing you the whole way in. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Trying to spit loogies on the back of your head and stuff. Right.
Yeah, it's true like that, and it helps. I mean, I had an opportunity here when I moved here. I became a director for the PAL in Delano, and had one of the guys, and was an assisting boxing coach up there. And I had a guy, and you probably know who he is once I say his name, was tied into that good kid, man. A young black kid raised by his Mexican grandpa and grandma in Delano, and got into boxing. Had him, I think 14, 15, because my daughter used to box my middle one, and we used to go over there, and just two days a week we would train this kid, and now he's one of the top 168s, Paul Mendez.
Yep, no, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul's really good.
and that kid right there was, I mean, in school, he did good, but all his friends, were like the bad guy. I mean, we had some guys, and they were damn good boxers, man. And my main thing was to get them off the street, start a program, and help them out. And there's some that really made it.
Yeah.
And we would go all over, man. And Paul,
fighter.
Smokey, he stood out, man. We took him to Long Beach Diamond Belt tournament, just trained him 2 days a week. Now he's Andre's Ward and even Triple G's main sparring partner now.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Good kid, man, and props to him. But that's an example. It can.
Yeah.
You show him the right direction.
Make changes. Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
it does.
Yeah.
So with the training camp, you got Coach B. You were, I mean, I'll attest to this. I've trained with him, and
Right.
he'll show up after strength conditioning and still have a motor on you. And
Yeah.
It's being the carb that you called him. It's insane. I mean, I've trained with a ton of people through the years, but you're the first guy that I've seen that you can hit a point where you get tired and then all of a sudden you catch a gear, and it doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't factor in.
Right.
Is that more of your just? I mean, because you train nonstop all the time. That's all I ever see of you. And I mean, you are a lean 178 right now.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, the fighter you're gonna face, he may see, you're only 170 right now, but he's insane to believe that you're not a fit 170.
Right.
So, but I mean, where does that? I mean, is it a work ethic, or is it just I hate to lose? I mean, there's always that weird gray area. Where
Right. I think it's a little bit of both. I know that nothing's going to be given. Some guys, they overlook their opponents, they do these things, and for me, I don't ever do. I don't care what a record says. I don't care. You can have 20 fights and 20 losses. You've seen damn near every style in those 20 fights. A lot of experience. You've been in a lot of situations. So for somebody to overlook you because you have 20 fights and 20 losses, you're setting yourself up to lose. And so for me, I think it comes from that aspect of knowing that, hey, I don't care. This guy is coming to beat me. For my training camp, guys ask me, people ask me, well, do you get mad? Do you hate? No, I don't hate this guy. I want to hurt him bad enough to where he can't fight that night.
Right.
To where he can't fight again that night, but not for the rest of his life.
And I think that's hard for a lot of people to understand that.
Right. Yeah. How do you go beat somebody up and you're not mad at him?
Right now, I'm trying to catch your liver. I'm gonna try to get you
Exactly.
And then after that, I'm gonna give you a big old hug.
Exactly.
It's a weird balance.
Yeah, but I think it comes a little bit of everything. It's what I've been through in life, the things that I've had to overcome. The people that have told me that, hey, you'll never do this. Hey, you'll never make this. Hey, but I had a teacher. It's funny, man. I had a teacher who told me when I was in like 6th grade, by the time you're 18, you're gonna be in prison or dead. And a few years ago, he's arrested for some really bad stuff. And so now here I am on the other side of the law. So it comes with work ethic. It's something that I was never the most talented guy. Even when I played football, I wasn't the fastest guy. I wasn't the strongest guy by any means, but I worked hard. And so that work ethic comes, and for me, tired is a state of mind, not so much a physical incapability or whatever. I think studies have shown. I think people know that you really only give out a small percentage of what your body is capable of. So when I get tired, when I start to feel that, I just cut it out. I'm not tired. It's a mental state. I changed my mind. You know, I convinced myself that I'm not tired. I can still go, hey, I'll breathe after this round.
Right.
Get through it. It's only a minute. It's only 2, you know, whatever. And I think that's what kind of pushes me forward as far as, you know, kicking into that next gear. And then, you know, what and who I fight for. You know, I fight for my daughter. I don't fight for myself anymore. I don't need to fight to try to make a living. You know,
Right.
some people have to, you know, they're still in that position where fighting is all they have. You know,
Yeah.
they're working a little part-time 9 to 5, whatever, and fighting is what they're hanging on, or they're not even working. They're just trying to fight and make it. And I mean, you talk to anybody, man, this sport doesn't pay well.
No, not
you
at all.
know, it does not pay well for what you put your body through. So now, I mean, I fight obviously because I love to compete. I love the sport, but you know, when I do fight, when I step in there the way, it's funny, Coach Rudy Cruz, he's out there with Daniel Cormier right now. He used to always tell me growing up, man, when I first started training with him and at Thrive with Isaac DeJesus and these guys, he used to always tell me, like, you know, every walkout, and he still does it to this day, when we walk out for a fight, this man's trying to take food out of your daughter's mouth. What are you going to do about it? And I think
And that's heavy.
yeah. Oh yeah. And for me, that's all it takes, you know.
Right.
So in training, when I feel like, man, I'm done, I want to quit, I can't go anymore, I think about that. This guy is still training. This guy is trying to outwork me. This guy, while I'm sleeping, this guy is training. So the hours that I'm awake and I am training, I have to, you know, I have to maximize and take.
Make it productive, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, you know, it's a little bit of everything, and it feeds into it. And then it's just me. I mean, I think I'm a hard-headed. I mean, you know all about being hard-headed, you know. So it's just that never quit kind of mentality and attitude. Is you just keep pushing forward, keep trucking, you know, and something's gonna give sooner or later. So
Right.
pressure is my strong point. You know, I love to put pressure on guys.
And I've seen you hurt. I mean, I won't say any name, but I've seen you hurt a heavyweight that I respect highly.
Right.
You know, and you're coming out of your body. At the time, I think you were like 180.
Right,
You know,
right.
we're probably where you're at right now, and it's. I want to see like I want to see you box at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're an all-around fighter. It doesn't matter where you go, you're good to go.
Right.
But the power you generate, I mean, for the size that you are,
Right.
it's kind of overwhelming because you don't expect it to come out of you, and then you flow with it. You're
Yeah.
very side to side. You're very
Look at his placement of his feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
really
sitting
what it is.
down on his
Yeah,
punches.
sitting on his punches.
Anybody, I mean, you gotta. I mean, if you know the game long enough, I watched it long enough, so I kind of already know, and that's why, you know, there's other people that do what we're doing here,
right.
and I'll match whatever I see to theirs and money, and I'll be the underdog. I'll take it every time because everybody could be the favorite.
Right,
Everybody
right,
always
right.
picks like the Khabib and Conor.
Yeah.
Oh, Conor, he's gonna knock.
Yeah.
Dude, he gets hit more 5.5% more than Conor
yeah.
than Khabib does.
Yeah.
Khabib gets hit 1.5 times to that.
Yeah.
Plus, once you get out of his factor, Conor has a mindset, but he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah.
And if you have that combination of a mind and a heart, shit, no one's gonna beat
Yeah,
you, man.
exactly.
You get to die.
Yeah.
You know, he's a showman, and that's it. I'll put whatever money I can put together, and I think I could get a pile and put him against Conor McGregor. A lot of people are gonna laugh, but I guarantee you, afterwards you'll go shit. Because I know I've seen Conor, and yeah, he's got his ability puncher thing like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, he's
through history, how many good Irish fighters has there ever been?
Right,
dude?
right.
And I'm talking about the boxing side. You've had the best.
Yeah.
You know, the Ricky Hattons
Yep,
and all
yep.
that stuff. But
And
when they
even
come
then-
right down to the nitty gritty, when it's championship rounds, what
Yeah,
happens?
They break. Yeah, they break. And
All
I mean,
European fighters are
right.
like that.
And I
right?
think
Not gonna happen.
in my opinion, you know, boxing was always my first love. Like Van was saying
Yeah.
about me getting in the ring. That's still a goal. It's still something I plan on doing.
I'd love to see that,
It's something where, you know, it was kind of in the works before. There was a guy that I wanted to fight for a long time. Unfortunately, because he had a lot more boxing fights than I
Yeah,
did,
man,
the
they
athletic
wouldn't do
commission wouldn't allow it. But you know, it's like I tell everybody, man, I get hit in 3-4 ounce gloves. You think I care about
Yeah.
getting hit in 10s? You know,
Knees and
come on, man.
kicks in the
Yeah,
face.
knees, elbows. Come on, you know. But it's still something that we're looking forward in the future. You know, Coach Williams always tells me, he always says, you know, I got to get you one, at least one. He goes, after that, I'll be satisfied. I can retire, you know, but I got to get you one. So it is in the works, you know. But yeah, like we were talking about, these Irish fighters. Connor is great. He's a showman. He's good for sports. He's good for business.
Oh, yeah.
He generates money, and I mean the guy can't fight. He really can't fight if the styles match. But in my opinion, the European fighters, these Irish fighters, they've never been the big stars. I think Ricky Hatton might have had the most success, to my knowledge, as far as the Irish fighters. Or even then, he wasn't Irish. He was from the UK, but he stood out the most. Aside from, in my opinion, the best Irish fighter that I can think of is Mickey Ward.
Mickey Ward, Sean McGuigan.
All
those guys.
But Mickey Ward for me was my favorite because Arturo Gatti was one of my favorite fighters. So, those guys, seeing what they did, they were two fighters pretty much at the end of their career. They just kind of threw this fight together. And they put on one of the best trilogies in boxing history. And both, like you said, you can have skill, but if you have no heart, you're not going to go nowhere. Both guys had skill. Both guys had heart. Gotti had a little more skill than Ward, but Ward just had this don't quit heart. And I mean, it made for you watch the fights. I mean, round 9, man, I still to this day I watch it leading up to my fights. And to get motivation to train. I'll throw it on and I'll watch highlights. And this is. I love Arturo Gatti's style. He's a boxer puncher. He can box. He can move. He's swift. He's good on his feet. He's light on his feet. He's fast. But when it comes down to it, he can stand there and he can just bang and throw. And that's that's my style. I can move. I can dance. I can do this and that. But I love to bang.
Yeah, I love watching him box.
So
Ray Mancini, Boom Boom Mancini like that too.
Mancini, Boom Boom.
Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. I remember going in the air because I grew up like that, for boxing and stuff like that. And, we used to do that as a kid. Every time we got to argue, my dad put the gloves on.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Uncles, would go there.
That's what you
and
do.
They would sit around and watch us do it.
Yeah.
And then actually I had a cousin, and I'm not as close to him now, but I was, back then in Southern California. And I remember I was going to start high school, and then he went to the service, and he boxed in the service. He was in actually the Army, and he beat Sugar Ray Seals, the only gold medalist for the Olympics that time.
Wow!
But they wouldn't let Carlos go because he wasn't a citizen of the United States. But he took him to the war. He came back as Carlos Palomino and defended the title 5 times in 1 year, became a world champion.
Wow.
And till this day, he's the only one that still has ever done that.
Wow.
As a welterweight. And he's fought all the best. And I remember when he bought a Mercedes, and we were all young. It was my older brothers, and then that was when they were night clubbing and stuff.
Yeah.
And he pulled up in a Mercedes 450. It said 15 rounds. 15 rounds on the plate. He was getting paid $100,000 a fight. Back then,
that's good money.
Yeah,
that's
back
good
then.
money.
You're talking about
you're talking
about the 70s.
But you look at FICA scores and all that. That $100,000 doesn't go too far. But it's nice to look at.
So I kind of look at that kind of stuff, because I grew up through that, and during then, there was a lot of good fighters. I mean, they were coming up. I remember I think it was every Thursday night we'd watch fights from the Olympic Auditorium.
Oh, nice.
And the old man. Jimmy Lennon was he was the dude, man.
Yep.
And the announcer and all that stuff, and they would have Carlos would be on that show, but they would have Bobby Chacon, Manchuria Pineda, all these guys on the cards at the Olympic Auditorium, man, and these guys ended up becoming world champions. And there were guys from Nevada that was pulled up in these little gyms.
There's so much talent out there, man, in these small towns, it's just people don't get that break,
It does.
There's and I don't say this in any type of disrespectful way whatsoever, but there's a million Jose Ramirez's out there. There really is, but he got that break. He got that break.
I'm known that kid since he was little.
Right, and the guy's great. I mean, I love watching him fight.
He is, and I know. I can tell you some stories, man, from the early days because he used to come to Tulare to
train out there.
Yeah, because I used to be advisor for Hector Alatorre, and they used to bring him over, all the guys from Avenel, and he used to bring him there and stuff like that. Hector goes, damn, Because that's one dude right now I'd like to fight with. If I had a chance to fight again, he goes, I want to take a fake fight, call what's his name, Saul out, get a fight with Saul, beat him, and then call out Jose.
Yeah, man. And,
we talked about that.
And that's the thing, is Jose.
But he's done really good.
He has. I mean, the guy, and he's had the right people. Rick Meridian's a freaking
he's
genius.
A hustler.
The guy's a mad scientist out there, man, and he's put Jose in a position to be from this small town and show that, hey, look, you can still make it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's a million guys out there. And
they just haven't had a chance.
Right. And every little barrio and every little boxing gym, rink-a-dink gym, there's guys like that, and they just never get that break, And by the time they do, they're just too worn and torn and beat up, and it doesn't last long. Jose.
That's what happened. I mean, anywhere in any place in Gilroy.
Oh yeah.
You go to anywhere.
I mean,
at least Los Angeles.
Yeah, they don't call Oxnard Boxnard for no reason.
No,
and you really see the Garcias only out of there, and obviously Lomachenko when he was out there and stuff, but I mean, I've trained in that gym. I've sparred fighters in that gym. There's a million guys out there that are killers. I've gone out to Top Rank in Vegas. I've been invited down there and trained at their gym. And the same. I mean, Esquiva Falcao, the guy hits like a tank. And he's getting some spotlight. But there's dudes all over the place. I remember being in Calwa and boxing in Calwa with Maramero Pais as my head trainer. And
those guys.
I mean, it's out there. It's just a matter of getting that break and blowing up. And
it's across the board. I mean, traveling it down. Like you said, there's a million people that are talent. But it's the right choices and the right people.
Right.
And if they're not seen by the right person at the right time, I mean, if they don't peak right, I mean, it's hard to get to that point.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a combat sport, man. You can take the greatest fighter in the world and the worst fighter in the world, and that worst fighter still has a puncher's chance.
Yep.
I mean, that one person you need to see you fight could be there, and it could just not be your night, and there goes your whole shot. Most of the time, you get one shot. It's opportunity meets preparation, and if you can't capitalize on that opportunity, or you didn't prepare enough for that opportunity, that's it. Your whole career, everything you've worked hard for could be done. Some guys are blessed enough to get a second shot and to come back and to get a chance to redeem themselves, but most of the time you're not.
And that's the difference between a champion prospect and a journeyman fighter.
Exactly. Right.
Because the journeyman fighter is still as good as that champion. But
and he's seen it all. He's done it all. He's a gatekeeper. I think of it like a Joey Beltran. When he was at the UFC. The guy was never going to be a champ.
Nope.
But everybody knew they brought in LeVar when they took LeVar into the UFC, when they got all these guys. Hey, you're fighting Joey Beltran. And everybody knew, I'm going to be in a fight.
I remember LeVar called me. He was, I'm fighting Joey Beltran. I need to hit you. And I'm like, man, he goes, I can't. If I can knock you out, I can knock out Joey.
Yeah.
Like,
so now you're going to knock me out, right?
That's your goal on that?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's out there, man. I mean, the talent is there. It's just a matter of taking advantage. I mean, I've gone out to gyms in down south and stayed out there with, a good friend of mine, Francisco Rivera. Trained at CSW with Josh Barnett and these guys. Yeah. And I mean, the gym it's murderer's row, man. There's no such thing as a round off in these gyms because everybody in there is a killer, but only some of them are getting that chance to showcase, and usually it's those guys who bring the spotlight back onto their gym that in turn gets one of these younger guys an opportunity. My boy Jacob Rosales, another guy, he's out there at CSW, and the kid is a killer, man. Just a purebred. He was bred for fighting, and the guy is great. And he's now getting his spotlight. I got a couple other boys, David Duran, Henry Corrales, and, these guys that I've trained with, that I've been alongside with, and you see the talent pool that's out there, and you think, man, all these dudes out here with so much talent, with so much, that they could give to the sport, and all they need is that shot, So it's definitely there, man. It's just a matter of getting it.
It would be good for the Valley to get spiked for boxing like they used to.
Right.
I mean, right now, they're getting the taste of it, and then you're getting these by night promoters coming in, and kind of gives a bad taste,
Right.
I hadn't went to any. I went to a couple of the fights here, Top Rank, because I know the guys at Top Rank. Rick, I don't know that much. I did meet him one time when we were doing up and comers.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of stuff, but. Anyways, back in the day at Tachi Christian, Oh my God!
Oh, yeah,
man.
Christian Print Up.
We had
Yeah.
boxing. It was an event, just like the MMA. I mean, it would be months. People would be buying clothes that they're gonna wear for that
Right.
occasion. I mean, we'd be at Hooters in Fresno. We'd be over
Yeah.
here, and we'd be promoting. At that time, they even had the Fresno Coyotes
Mm-hmm.
football. We'd be promoting at the football selling arena.
Yeah.
You know, doing all
Indoor
kinds
team.
of stuff. Now, they just went away from it, and
Yeah.
you don't know until like maybe a week or two before. Oh shit!
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And it's not the same, man.
Right.
I kind of miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think the guy who's kind of given the Valley a taste of that again is Jose. I mean, the spotlight, the position he's in, and the fact that Rick is, like I say, you know, the guy's just an evil genius. He's slowly chomping at the bit and bringing it back to the Valley. But before then,
That'd be nice.
you know, there wasn't any boxing. You know, I grew up. Yeah, I didn't watch cartoons growing up. You know, I
Yeah.
watched Rocky. I watched
Yeah.
boxing. I
Yeah.
watched Rambo. You know,
Yeah.
so. But growing up, I never got to go and see a boxing match. There was never anything, at least not anything big that I knew of here locally, to go watch. And now I see it, and I'm like, man, you see all these youngsters, all these little kids, 7, 8, years old at these boxing events, and it's showing them like, man, look, this is out here, you know. And
I mean, it was pretty cool. It was I was saying 2004. It was 2004. We were grooming, obviously. You know, Hector was doing his thing,
Right.
And we had Juan Herrera, who was at that time signed with Golden Boy and doing his thing, and they were basically getting these. Who's the best? You know, Rossi, Solario, who's the best damn lightweight in the Valley, and then they had one night at Tachi, man, and Juan Herrera took on the ice cream kid, Ruben, and Ruben knocked him out and just kind of screwed everything up. man.
Yeah.
So we never got to see that fight, and that was one thing that everybody got cheated on, man, because they had a lot of money invested in that big fight.
Yeah, but that's like I said, you know, the worst fighter can beat the best fighter on any given day. You know, I know a little bit about Herrera and you know, being out of Rossi and being signed to Top Rank, and got a lot of steam behind him, you know, and then he just takes an ugly knockout, and I don't think he ever fought again.
Yeah, he had problems making that weight because he was coming in at 120.
Right.
And he had that problem, so
all the tortillas and stuff, man.
Yeah, so Oscar they dropped him.
Yeah.
And so Christian picked him up over here, and then that's when they start putting things together, saying, man,
these
two,
two,
badass.
man.
So
eating all that ESPYs and the Rossi, man.
that's it.
The
That's
ESPYs,
it.
man. Those ESPY
So
chips.
he was a good guy, man. I met him years later on when the MMA things start going on. I got to meet him and you know, personally, he knew who I was, and I knew who he was, but I actually never got to meet him.
Right.
And when I went to his little gym and to get him to get some fighters together, we talked and everything.
Right.
He goes, man, he goes, I didn't think you liked. I go, dude, you're good people,
Yeah.
man. I was hoping that day would happen. He goes, I don't want to talk about that.
Touchy subject.
Yeah, but he's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
He is a good guy.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of good people out there, man. A lot of good guys.
Classic times, man.
Right.
You know, back then. But this is now your opponent. I checked them out and everything, and like we said, you can't underestimate. You know, He does have the experience, and then even what's his name, Baby Slice, likes to get the same way.
Yeah, he beats Baby Slice and Bellator, you know.
Yeah, so it's like, man, you know, they just built the hell out of him. I know
nothing.
Antonio McKee's been working his ass off with him.
I mean, the guy's got some of the greatest training out of the American top team, and still just dropping the ball. So, yeah, my opponent's coming off that big win, so he's got that steam behind him as far as being a name, you know, and on a big show in Bellator. So, you know, I don't. People ask me, you know, what do you think of your opponent? I don't know. Yeah. I have not. I've yet to see. I saw the little highlights from the actual Bellator event where he beat Baby Slice. Yeah. But I've yet to watch a fight. You know, I can't control what my opponent is going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. I get the name. I send it to my coaches, maybe a training partner or two. Hey, let me know what you guys think. Let's do it. Okay, cool. And they game plan. You know, and that's the thing. All my coaches right now, I'm blessed. I think this is one of the. Man, if I could have had this, you know, years ago, and I've had great camps. I've had really great camps with really good coaches, but right now it just seems like all my coaches are working together, and some of them haven't even ever met. You know, my strength and conditioning coaches never met Coach B or my jiu-jitsu coach Pedro. But they know, hey man, I saw your videos, I saw you were doing this and this and that. My strength coach say, hey, look, you looked a little weak here. Our focus this week is going to be, explosiveness. Our focus this week is going to be exploding off of one leg. So when you're up against the cage, you got to just pop up on that. And they just work hand in hand to where it's one of those where I feel great and I feel like I'm getting it. And they've watched my opponent. They've checked him out. They know what he likes to do. They know how he likes to fight, the distances, the ranges, what he likes to throw. Yeah. And they put that all into my training, and they'll start me in bad positions of, hey, your opponent's going to be strong here. Hey, your opponent's long. He's taller than you, so you got to watch for triangles. You're getting stuck in the triangle all day and you're working out of it, And so training's been going good. I mean, it's grueling, kicking my ass, man. I got these guys. Right now, I got 2 or 3 guys that have been working with me consistently every Tuesday and Thursday, and sometimes even more throughout the week. They've never had a fight. They're jiu-jitsu guys, strictly jiu-jitsu guys, man, and they come in and they beat the crap out of me, and they let me beat the crap out of them, and they show up religiously. I mean, every Tuesday and Thursday, they're waiting for me, and I almost kind of hope sometimes that, like, I get a text message, and they're like, hey, man, I'm beat up. I can't make it because I can get some rest, but they show up, and they're there, and they've been helping me, and I tell people all the time, man, like, I'd rather have these 3 wolves that are showing up every day to kick my ass than to have a million sheep in here working with me.
Oh, hell yeah!
So it's everything's going great with camp right now.
Like they say, the hardest works what you leave at the gym. Man.
Right? Yeah. I mean that's true. All the hard work is done in the gym. The fight's the fun part. Yeah. I tell people all the time, man. I got 3 fights. When I sign for one fight, I have 3 fights. The first fight is get through training camp. Second fight is make weight. Third fight is the actual fun one. That's the way it is, and
that's the easiest of it.
Yeah, and exactly. That's it. I mean, that
is
to
the
me is
one.
like the ideal camp. A lot of times you get, you still got these guys, man, that you're on our team, how come you're
right.
Doing that, and that kind of just bogs down.
Yeah.
A fighter going. I've seen enough through the years. You got to have a clean mindset, man, and focus.
Right.
And it sounds you got the right template going.
Yeah, it's great, and the fact that my coaches they're not they're not these little touchy, sensitive, prideful coaches. You get some of these guys out there, no, you can't train with these. No, you train here. This is that's ridiculous, man. You're never gonna grow because you're gonna know your teammates' tendencies. You're gonna know what they like to do.
Yep.
You're not gonna grow. You're gonna grow to a certain point, then you're gonna plateau. Coach Williams, I've had a couple fights where he's stepped back and said, hey, Rudy Cruz, you're taking over. And Rudy Cruz is my boxing coach. Williams will be there and he'll kind of look over and give me little pointers, but hey, Rudy's your head coach. Same with jiu-jitsu. My jiu-jitsu coach Pedro, when our coach Marcelo was down, hey, Marcelo is your head coach. I'm here helping. There's no pride, there's no ego. No, you can't go here. No, you can't go there. I've gone down south and stayed out there for a month, and I come back home and right back to work with, when Isaac De Jesus was here, when he was my head coach, and there was no pride, there was no ego, and I think that helps fighters grow because you get out there, you expand, you train with different guys, you see different styles, tendencies, and it exposes your weaknesses. Now you know,
gauge your experience, man, and what level you're at. And I've told that people from the get-go. I go, man, you can't.
Yeah.
We live in Central California, man. You're handicapped to a certain amount of what you can get. You got to get out there if you're going to be serious about this thing and test your skills.
Exactly.
Because they go, God, how come every time somebody from Southern California or Northern come here, those guys are beat? Because they don't train the same.
Exactly. It's a whole different
They go
animal.
Everywhere, dude. Yeah. That's why everybody knows each other.
Exactly. They're whole different animals, man. And I think that's what's good for fighters is to get out there and to branch out and build relationships with other fighters. Go down to different gyms and train and get the experience, because that's what's going to help you engage you, and it can be a confidence booster. I've gone to up north and down south and trained at different big time gyms with some of these guys, and some of these guys were in big promotions, and I'm touching them up, and I think to myself, man, if I can touch these guys up, these guys that I'm going to be fighting coming up they're not going to stand a chance. If I'm on my A game and I fight my fight, these guys aren't going to stand a chance.
It's like that. I mean, I remember. God, it was Nate or Nick. Nick he just fought Carol Parisian and he lost. And I know Richie Perez, his boxing coach, and he goes, hey, can you guys come up to Stockton? Christian called us and says, hey, you guys want to go to Stockton? And then Hector goes, for sparring? He goes, yeah, because Rodney Jones is up there. And at the time, Rodney Jones was a champ here at boxing for Tachi. So we went up there and everything, and we didn't even know those guys were going to be there. So we went in there, and Richie, hey, what's going on, blah, whatever. So we go in there, and he goes, hey, I got these guys, they're cage fighters and stuff. And I knew who Nick was because I seen him. I was like, oh, fuck, that's, and Hector goes, who? I go, that's Nick Diaz. He just fought in the UFC. He goes, oh, shit, I'll spar him. And then his younger brother, Nate, because that's when they had the tough man. And he was in the tough man. So anyways, went in there and they sparred. And afterwards he goes, hey, when are you guys gonna come back? He goes, that guy's fast.
Yeah.
But that we made that relationship and went up there several times, and then we got to the point when BJ Penn called us to wanted to do a camp. But Hector didn't want to go to Hawaii and stuff like that. I said, dude, because now he looks back and goes, oh, Rudy Kruger's getting paid. I go, dude, you could be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Because he was gonna fight Rudy at one time. God bless Rudy, I love you, man. And Rudy goes, no, I need time to fight that guy. And Chris goes, I'll pay you the most you'll ever make if you take this fight. He goes, no.
Yeah.
But no, that was it. So he fought the other Rudy Cruz. There's like 3 of them. He fought the other brother.
Yeah, man, it's the talent's out there and the opportunities out there, and I think Rudy's an example of that, you know.
But he works hard, man. He's a good guy. I mean, he's good. He had his little time, but it was just in the period where these guys were like dominating, and he was in that mix. Yeah, and he was doing all the little club shows and stuff. Good guys. They brought him the Tachi, and it was just like, I wasn't ready for that leak yet.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, he made the most of it. But
the experience, he comes from a family of boxing.
Boxers,
His dad groomed him and his brother real well. Yeah, and like they say, some guys are better teachers than they are fighters.
Right. Some of the best coaches.
And he's
a great boxing coach. Rudy's a great boxing coach, and I've worked with Pop. I worked with his dad, with Pop. I worked with Gabe, with his brother Gabe, and all of them, man, just super knowledgeable in boxing, and they've all kind of contributed, and so they're. I mean, great family of fighters.
Badass light heavyweight.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Knocking some dudes out.
That's what I hear.
He just had problems tossing. But no, it was always wild when he fought.
That's what I heard, man.
So after the fight, what's your go-to meal, man?
Oh, after the fight.
Because you've been eating clean all the time.
Yeah.
I know you've been getting hooked up on your food and everything. And so, what's the meal gonna be like afterwards?
Usually. What I always do, because like I said, fighting, it's a broke man sport. I mean, you don't make a lot of money. So what I always do after a fight, whether it's the next day or the day after, I bring the whole team down. I invite everybody. Hey man, you guys are all welcome to my place. I'm barbecuing ribs, tri-tip, the works.
Bob's the work, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so make them cook out there. But no, I always have a big barbecue, man. So that's usually like my first big meal afterwards. But I love burgers. Burgers are my go-to. So I try to go somewhere and find just a big gourmet burger. None of this microwave patty type crap. I want them to ask, how do you want your meat cooked? I want medium rare, man. I want it still a little juicy, and I'll get a burger and a nice cold beer, man. I'm a huge beer drinker. Not like I get drunk or anything, but I just love trying new beers. I love, to have a beer or two. One of my sponsors, Tap and Cellar, they're a beer and wine, place, and they bring in some of the best beers from the local breweries, and down south, up north, all around California, and I mean, they've got some beers on tap right now that I see them post these pictures, man, and I'm drooling. I'm drooling. I can't wait to have one, So that's usually my go-to though. Right after is gonna be a big barbecue. Get a little bit of everything: some tri-tips, some ribs, some hot links, whatever, and then of course all the side fixings and stuff like that. My mama makes some good rice. My grandma gets down with potato salad and stuff. So we usually have a big right? Got me drooling over here. I know. So that's usually my first big one, and then after that, I like to go get myself a burger. And then I mean, from there it goes, man. I mean, I try to get out there. I'm a huge steak guy too. Yeah. I love me a good steak, so I'm sure within that weekend I'll be whether at
hit all 3 food groups, right?
Fleming's or Ruth's Chris or something,
Right.
getting a nice big steak and so.
Hit up Paul Elizondo, man. Hey, Paul, hit me up at Westwood.
Yeah, right, Westwood. Yeah, I go to Westwood's
Go
quite
get
a
some burnt
bit.
ends
Yeah,
over there,
maybe
you
some
know?
burnt ends. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, first big meal though is definitely gonna be some barbecue, man. I love to grill. That's kind of something I like to do. It's relaxing to me. I love grilling. I'll have 2 or 3 grills going at once sometimes, and different things on each one, and it's relaxing. I'll drink a beer and hang out, and so yeah, I'm pretty simple, man. Pretty simple guy.
So did you get to go trick or treating last night?
No, I didn't get to go trick or treating.
I didn't either, man. I understand that.
I got Raider tickets in one of the bags of my dad.
Yeah, no, I had to work last night, so I made it down. Luckily, with my schedule, it's tough on the body. It's tough, especially with training right now. But it works best for the family, for my daughter.
That's awesome.
So I work nights, and I got to make it to my daughter's little school party, see her for a while, hang out with her. But then after that, it's like, all right, I trained all morning. I got to make it to the party, and I got to go get some sleep because now I work all night. So while she was out trick-or-treating, having her fun, I was napping before work, and then I got to talk to her a little bit, and she told me all the candy she got. So I told her, just save me the Almond Joys and the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Man. Daddy's got one more week. Save me the Almond Joys and the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And
Is she going to be at your fight?
You know what? I haven't quite decided if I'm gonna take. I took her to my last one.
It's probably one of the best pictures I've seen. I think it was Mark Davis.
Yeah, Mark Davis. Some amazing pictures. Yeah,
That's
they were best pictures by far, in my opinion, that I have with my daughter. I don't know yet for sure if I'm gonna take her to the fight, but I do. Her mom and I split our schedule with her, and I do have her that weekend. So if nothing else, she'll be there Saturday morning to have breakfast with us after the fight, and then hang out all weekend with her. So yeah, she's my little ride or die, man.
Yeah.
She's definitely my motivation, that's for sure. So
Right on, man.
yeah.
So you said you're working a night, man.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for coming out for.
Oh, man.
Because as much as you got going on, it's hard to get a hold of you. I mean, it's you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why when they said that, I said, I don't know, dude, because he's got a schedule.
Yeah.
See what you can do.
Yeah, everything for me is time schedule, man.
Yeah.
If I'm off by 5 minutes, it throws off the next
I
3
like that
things.
too.
But yeah,
Okay.
but no, it worked out. I mean, I work until 7 in the morning, and then straight from there, straight to strength and conditioning. By 8:30, I'm in my workout there. I get done there by 10:30. I'm on the mat, and then I get done about noon. Today I was done about 12:15, and I was home, showered, and in bed by 1. And slept till 5. Got up, got ready, and usually I'm okay with 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I can do okay and make it through. And then I'll have some days like tomorrow. I don't have strength and conditioning, so I'll be able to sleep for a few hours in the morning when I get off. And then I'll go to boxing and I'll do my stuff and then nap a little bit before work. So my schedule shifts, but yeah, it's tough, but I make do. I make it worth it. It's all part of the game.
Well, I mean, you got a whole crew of people that have been helping you with sponsors and stuff. You want to give a shout out right now?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
thank everybody
man.
that's been doing that.
Shoot, let me
Hell yeah,
get
take-
everybody.
take
man,
care of what you need to,
Yeah,
man.
let me get my pick. I don't want to miss anybody, man. So I got Tap and Cellar. They're great beer, great wine. Live music, great place. Doghouse Grill. They sponsored me for this one. The Billingsleys, that family. Thank you guys. Obviously, Coach B, Batcave Boxing, Dr. Guzman, Dr. Batista. They take care of all my stuff, make sure all my engines are running good. Doc's Gym, Dr. Joe Martin's my chiropractor. Jody Morgan, my strength and conditioning coach. I've got Jonathan Rooker, law offices Jonathan Rooker, who
Hey, stepped up,
jumped
man.
on, stepped up,
Chemical
helped me
killer,
get on
man.
John. Yeah,
Right on.
Iron Bullies, man. These guys, some of the best active streetwear, fitness wear that I've been. I love their gear. Native Menace, obviously, Virus for sponsoring me. I just picked up a CBD sponsor, So let me make sure I don't mess up their name. They're a new company. I don't want to butcher them, or new to me, so I don't want to butcher them. Let me see where they go. It's gonna be Miss Mary Jane's, California, CBD sponsor. They're hooking me up. LeJean Hair Studios, my cousin's barbershop.
Nice.
Always keeps my hair right.
Yeah, you're always done.
Yeah,
man.
always keep my hair
lined
right. My tattoo artist, Peter. Definitely hooks me up, keeps my ink. I got a lot more coming. So yeah, so many sponsors. My buddy Kevin, with Method X and his meals. He's kept me fed. He's tailored my diets and just kept me on point this whole camp. Made the cut easy. I'm still eating. I'm still fed. So yeah, all my sponsors. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Thank all of you guys. I appreciate all you guys. Everything you've done for me to help me out. Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
So you got a wealth of people behind you, and it's going to be an exciting night all the way around. They got every weight division working. They got two top good main event fighters. But it was kind of shocking to me when they put your guys' fight together and you weren't one of the co-mains.
It just
the rest. You're a good crowd draw. You sell a ton of tickets out there, and your opponent is coming off of a big win. When they stacked it, I was like, whoa. I expected to see you.
Yeah, it's one of those. I joked with Richard Goodman about it on Facebook. We kind of laughed about it, and and I understand what they're doing. They just had that amateur series with these guys. So they're trying to promote these guys, and hey, they're great guys. Christian, Landshark.
Yep.
I haven't fully seen him fight yet, but I know his brother Jose, and I know of Christian, and the guys are they're monsters, man.
Who's the older one that fought first, turned pro first?
Jose is.
Yeah, I was in Orange County when he had that second fight.
Yeah, with RFA or LFA, whichever one.
Didn't end or did.
No, but the guys are warriors,
But he's kind of He got Rudy.
learning.
Rudy's going to help him with
Right,
that.
exactly. And then they just got the old school. They're with Ralph Alvarado, Mike Moreno. These guys are old school, man. It's old school Bahaway and these guys, and they just grind. These Parlier boys, the Evangelistas. They grind, they work. So and then you got Anthony Aguilar out of Kingsburg coming up, another prospect. So I understand what they're doing. Promoting them.
Right.
I think I was on the very first amateur fight Tachi did. And I got a big win, and they kind of pushed me after that.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those where
it's investment.
the new lions are coming in, and these old guys. We sell ourselves, man.
Yep.
They don't have to put our faces out there. I think we got Anthony Avila and stuff in the main event, Kyle Reyes. Boom. That boy's a monster. And then we got Avila in the co-main, and they sell themselves. You hear their name, you hear they're on the card. They don't need to see their face. They don't need to be on a commercial. These guys are going to fight. They're going to put on a show. So people are going to buy it. It's the young guys that people are still trying to get to know. And in this sport, the half-life is so short. You've got a few years, so you've got to promote these new guys coming in and get your next stars. And I think Richard Goodman's been doing good with that. And I think I love Tachi. Tachi is home away from home for me.
Same here.
They've
man.
always taken care of me. I love everybody there. Jacob Jeff, Richard Goodman. They've always taken care of me and hooked me up. So even ugly old Mickey Martinez, my brother Poppies, they've always been good to me and taking real good care of me, man. So I understand what they're doing, and again, I'm gonna sell.
And more than anything, it was a dig at Richard. Because no matter what it is,
and that. You say the name, you don't have to picture what they look like.
Right.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
you get to a point where you've done things enough. You just say say the name, and they know who you are.
They know you're gonna fight, man.
There's other ones that think that their name's something, but a lot of people don't know who they are. I won't mention it.
With Richard, his marketing strategy on everything, keeping the young guys and keeping it exciting.
That's what works.
Exactly.
That's what works.
A lot of people are coming to see you.
Right.
And then with the new guys, and if they can make a bill out of that too. It just promotes the whole card.
And I'm not one of these guys, man. That's like, what a lot of these new guys are doing. I've been there, done that. I've held the 2 amateur titles. I've been ranked top 3. In the state of California. I've done it all, man. So to see these youngsters and these other guys getting it, hey, more power to you, brother. Yeah, more power to you guys. Keep stacking up wins. Keep building up your fan base. Keep keep doing all this. Make your money, man. I'm not one of these guys that's, me. It's like I said, I don't have to fight for a living anymore.
You've got a job.
Yeah, I have a career.
Career. Yes,
I have a career, and I'm gonna make. At the end of the day, I'm gonna make more money than a lot of these guys who try to fight their whole life. And I don't have to go through as much damage for it. And I love what I do still. The fighting is just because I love to compete, because I still have that itch. The day that fighting is no longer fun for me is the day I'll walk away. But I've broken my hand about 8 times. I've had other injuries, torn my MCL a few times, and I still come back like an idiot, because I love it. Broken my face up, but I love the sport. I love to compete, so I'm gonna keep coming back until it no longer interests me. And I'm one of these guys that I'm not fighting every 2 months, every 3 months to stay relevant, to making it. My last fight was a year ago.
Yep.
And
I remember sitting next to you for
right,
medicals,
medicals, weigh-ins, all that. Yeah, I mean, I still got the video where you're saying, somebody's getting knocked out in that fight, So it's one of those where, in the meantime, all these guys, hey, man, if this is what you're planning on doing and focusing on, dude, make your money, I'll promote any of these young guys coming up, When I posted this poster, I tagged them all because I have most of them on Instagram, so Jose Avalos, I don't have Christian on Instagram, but even him, man, shit, go out there, make your money, man. Anthony, both Aguilar and Avila, Kyle Reyes is a good buddy of mine. Let's get paid, man. We're all from the Valley, we're all from around here. Let's just put this place on the map.
And a lot of the guys always say this, but the guys coming up now, they don't realize how big of a promotion Tachi is.
Yeah,
and how well you are taken care of.
Yeah, they
didn't go out to Eagle Mountain get beat up by
Chicken
Challenge,
Ranch.
and they're sitting there picking through the take. Oh, this is what you get.
Right, exactly. They're pulling people out of the crowd. Exactly. Tachi is. It's basically like the pawn for the UFC. Look at how many guys have fought at Tachi, and now they're either a big name in the UFC or else at least got a shot in the UFC. Or Bellator or something.
It's a springboard into a bigger
venue. They've always said
it's
the road to UFC is through Tachi.
It's through Tachi. It's the talent pool, man. Some of the greatest fighters have fought at Tachi. Look at pretty much all of Alpha Male.
Yep. I remember Uriah Faber for when his second fight at WEC. I was a heavyweight and I was already done. And he was like, I got to cut 2 more pounds. So I'm like, let's go jog. It's 107 degrees.
Right.
We waited outside
waiting
the
out
vineyard.
in the back. Right.
You know what I mean? And he's like, all right, man. I appreciate that, big man. We've been friends since.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But who can say that? Like I did when he was second, third fight.
The Diaz brothers. All these guys. They've all fought at Tachi, man. John Dodson, Formiga, Joe Soto. Poppy's getting a shot in Bellator. Isaac getting a shot in Bellator. Christo Ciat, all these guys, man, who fought at Tachi, and they've bumped up. Yep. Kane, Cody, all these guys that people know that are household names here locally.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it's more about. If I get known nationally, great. But I'm trying to show these young guys and these people from these small towns that, hey, look, as far as I know, I'm the first and only pro athlete out of my hometown. And I think that says a lot. It shows that somebody from a small farming community with really no exposure, where's Carruthers at?
Yeah. I grew up in Riverdale, so I know
exactly.
Not unless you're a sprint car driver.
Right.
They don't know who
you are. Right.
There's 2,000 people in your town.
Yeah. It's these small little towns, right? They don't, or unless your family's a big farming company, they don't know who you are.
Exactly.
And so for me to be, as far as I'm aware of, the first and only pro athlete out of Carruthers. I think hopefully it can just show some of these other kids from the same town that, man, look, it's there. It's there for the taking. You just have to want it. You got to work for it. That's all it is, man. So, same with these boys from Parlier, with Christian and Jose.
The best for those guys, man.
Yeah, they're coming out of Parlier. Everybody knows P-Town. It's no joke. Yeah, it is. It's a little pot of hell.
I went to college in Reedley for 2 years, and I'm going to Parlier though. They said you got to knuckle up, be strong out there. And I was like, it's just Parlier, man.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Roughneck out there.
Yeah. So all these guys, man. If I wish them all success, man. I got no pride or ego towards any of these guys. I'm fighting for me. I don't fight for anybody else. I don't have to prove anything to anybody else. Right. People know when I fight, win or lose, it's gonna be a fight. Yeah. I'm showing up. I'm
Somebody's
ready to fight.
Getting knocked
out. There'll be one good fight on the card.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. There's a bunch of boring ones. I'm showing up to fight. So that's for sure. But no, this card is stacked, man. I think every fight is gonna be exciting. It's gonna be good. I got a lot of buddies. Art Hernandez has been a long-time teammate of mine. He's supposedly going to retire after this one. We'll see how the Warhorse does. Hopefully he doesn't, but
you think he really will?
I don't think so. I think he loves to compete too much. But if he does, he does. And he's getting up there in age a little bit.
He's earned the retirement. He's done enough.
He's fought a lot, and he's been in there for a while, and he's up there. He started a little late, just like myself. I started a little late, step away now and make room for these young guys coming up, these young hungry kids that started at 15 as opposed to us starting at 21, 22. They're gonna, in the long run, they're gonna have so much more talent, because they started so much younger. Hey, make room for the guys. I think right now a lot of us are the veterans, so we beat them with our mind. You know, we're smarter fighters. Our IQ is higher. But eventually these guys are going to be there, and they're going to realize what the sport's about, and they're going to start to see the business aspect, and hopefully they play it smart, man, and they don't just take fights and take fights and take fights that they shouldn't need to take. You know, take the smart fights, take the money fights, take the fights that are gonna propel you. You know, don't just go out there and take a fight against whoever at whatever weight. I shouldn't be taking fights at different weights,
right.
but you know, my last one was at 185, and now this one 170, and I fought for years at 155, and so.
Right.
But you know, I mean, again, I'm not doing it full time. I've been off for a year. I'm coming back. So everybody, obviously, the question is ring rust. You know, and I don't believe it. You know, I don't believe in anything.
You're always putting in work.
Yeah.
So you got a good rhythm going anyway.
I mean,
right.
well, I mean,
You know?
you got an amateur champ that you spar with regularly.
Right.
I mean, there's. In your coach, I mean, Coach B himself, he's not gonna allow that to get that rest to settle.
Yeah,
That's not his
exactly.
discipline,
I mean, I'm around killers out at LKG with crew. You know, again with my guys, Luke, my coach Pedro, and all the guys at Roots Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Every day they show up and they're killers, man, and they're coming to work. And so, you know, I don't ever feel like, man, you know, I'm not prepared. And it's like I tell everybody, I have no problem losing to a better fighter that night, you know, but I won't lose. I'm not okay with losing because I wasn't prepared. Right. So I'll never step into a fight if I feel I'm not prepared. And I think these guys from every gym I've been at, from Roots to One Kicks to the Bat Cave to Doc's gym with my strength and conditioning, you know, I feel like they've all done their part to help me get ready and to help me, you know, succeed next Friday, man. And so I'm excited. I can't wait, you know. Training camp's pretty much done, so there's the first fight. We won that. We made it through. We're dinged up, but we got our week to recover. You know, next week we just move and recover, and then we make weight, and there's the second fight, and then it's the fun one. So
this making weight's gonna be a good fight for you. It'll be an easy one.
Oh yeah, 7 pounds, man. 7 pounds, and I haven't even started yet, so I'm excited. But yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to it. Putting on the show.
Yeah, I was just thinking about you guys are actually, well, you're basically the first class of the amateurs.
Right.
Came
Coming
out.
Yeah.
You know, like that now, kind of winded down a little on your career and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your voice does speak volumes to the ones that are coming behind. Because you were really, the way I look at it, that was kind of like the heyday of amateurs.
Yeah.
Because you had the best of the best. There's a lot of guys that turned pro that really, I mean, those amateurs had household names.
Yeah, I mean,
back then you knew when they were in a fight, like Sandor.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, but
exactly. The amateurs, even now, the amateurs aren't the way they were when
no,
I was
dude, and I feel kind of, I
Yeah.
want to see, you know, like Pat, because I was on the foundation of it with up and comers. You know, Jason got that thing together, and we went out there and did it, and you know, with the guys with AKA, and had that show, and then we had those guys come and see everybody, and they can mingle with those guys that they see now. I remember back in the day when we had Kane, before Kane went to the UFC, he was going to be the main event on our pro show against Mike Cook.
Oh, wow.
I have the poster.
Oh, wow.
I have the poster.
Yeah.
And then Mike Cook goes, nah, man. He goes, I don't.
Yeah, Kane is an animal, man.
Yeah, I got a call in his second fight when he was fighting Seymour Center. Like, and I called the VAR. I'm like, you train with Kane, right? He's like, yeah. If you can hit him in the face without getting taken down, you might have a chance. I'm like, I'm gonna.
And then he go, and then check this out. This is a true story.
UFC.
He says, no, you know what, man? Why don't you give me somebody else? Why don't you put me against Mike Kyle, like that? And I go. And at the time, I was sponsoring Mike. That was the first guy ever sponsored that went to the UFC.
And Mike Kyle, man, he had his run too, where he was a killer, man. So,
that was crazy, man. I remember.
Yeah, I remember. I met Kane at Up and Comers, man, and I look back and we it's funny because some of us would get together.
He told us, hey, you know what, dude? See this guy right here? He goes, I guarantee you, in 6 fight, he's gonna be in the UFC. He goes, I'll put money on it. And I told him, are you serious? He goes, fuck, dude. And then Zinkin told me, he goes, dude, check this guy. I go, oh, well.
Yeah, the Zinkins are back in it.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I trust Dwayne.
Yeah, so. we talk about it, man. All of us that fought together in the amateurs, and you know, we look back and man, these shows are nothing like they were.
Dude, it isn't. The fire is gone. It's kind of like how the WC used to be over there. Back then, it was like an event.
Yeah, I mean,
you go in there now. It's kind of like a cattle drive.
Yeah,
I hate to say that,
it is, and I think
you
it's
know?
because they do it so often.
Yeah,
you know, it's
too
just it's
repetitive.
every month. Boom,
You're
boom,
not
boom.
anxious to
right
have
for
the
us.
fights.
We fought every 3 months, every 4 months, you know, and every time a guy stepped in the cage, he got better.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
saw these guys improve. You saw the work they were putting in, and I mean,
It was like excited. You knew,
yeah,
dude, this guy's gonna
and
get
the cards
better,
were
man.
stacked. I mean,
Yeah.
the cards were always stacked. I
Yeah,
know,
like 15 fights, 16
yeah.
fights.
When I
Oh,
fought,
man.
when I fought for the vacant 559 fights title, you know, I fought against Armando Perez, and
I remember at the little
yeah,
thing.
we were at the save or at the Celebrate
Right next to
Arena.
it, yeah.
yeah, right there, and I mean. That whole card, man, from top to bottom was just.
It was a good card.
Stacked,
Yeah,
you know,
it
and it
was
was
a-
packed.
it was
I
a
mean,
good card,
yeah,
man.
man. So it's just it's lost its fire the way it did, and I think, like you said, it's more of a cattle drive now. It's just do a show,
It
do a
is.
show, do
And
a
I
show.
think a lot of it is because they got away. They're pocketing more money. I mean, the
Right.
guys don't really make that much money. The promoters, they don't.
Right.
I seen that side of it, and they got away from the production side of it. We focused a lot on production, but we had the hypes with like the
the promo
big
vid-
fighters
yeah,
coming and
yeah,
stuff like that
yeah.
too. But the last, I'm telling you, what right now, everybody needs to take warning on Belly Fight Series. I didn't get to go, but a producer went to that, and a couple of the other guys on the team, and they said,
Pretty good.
"Look, man, this one is badass."
Yeah.
And I mean, respect to all of them. I mean, Jared and them, they put their work
Right,
in.
right, right.
They've been doing repetitive for a long time, and consistent.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
he's
these
a-
guys, off of coming from that hiccup they had on their second fight over there in Reedley, where a fight broke out.
Yeah.
You know, they
And I mean,
put
that's
tick-
not
yeah, it
something you
happens.
can- yeah,
it
it's not
happens.
something you
We've
can
had
control.
it at Up and Comers
Yeah,
and Solario. We
we've
had
had it
that
at
too.
Tachi, you know?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
that
myself,
thing
Isaac
too.
De Jesus, all of us hopping out of the cage and fighting in the crowd. I mean, Rudy Cruz, you know,
Yeah.
we're all in the crowd throwing
It
blows.
was,
you know,
yeah,
it happens, but-
it got wild.
Yeah, that's
but
not something
these
you can
guys
control.
went out there, and I heard so much feedback from the fighters saying, "Dude, after the weigh-ins, they had a full spread for us to eat."
Oh, nice. Yeah,
because
we
then after the
hydrate.
fights, they had a after party for us.
Yeah.
He goes
yeah.
like, I mean, you got to take care of your
Yeah.
product.
That-
Everybody
that
knows
Belly
10
Fight
people,
Series has got a
dude.
good venue too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Well, yeah, and I've never been to the Wake House. It's a place I've been wanting to check out, even because they're concerts. You know, they do good
Yeah.
concerts. But I wanted to go to that show. I had to work that night, but I mean, it looked good. You know, but I think any amateur promotion that comes in has to step their game up because
Yeah.
of what 559
Yeah.
Fights did
Oh,
to start.
absolutely.
You know?
They've established the
Absolutely.
bar.
Yeah, I mean, what they did to
Absolutely.
start the shows were untouchable. So now these new promotions, they have to. You have
Yeah.
to find that, what can I do to be relevant, you know? And I think if they're doing it there, the venue seems like a good one. You know, fighting at Wake House seemed like a good spot, and I know they probably bounce around. I doubt that's their home.
Yeah.
but
I think they're
yeah.
going to go right back to that little place they had. But what was good about this and what I liked about it was the whole city was behind it.
Right.
Reedley was
exciting.
totally pushed
Yeah.
it. And I mean, I've never been to anywhere that a city
Yeah.
whole support.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's what it takes, man.
Yeah,
that's what
so
it takes.
they were all excited to make this thing happen,
Yeah.
and they came in droves.
Nice.
You know, to
Nice.
that. Everybody, even like Danny and them from KO, they went out
That's
there,
right.
and those guys, you know, always they sell a lot of tickets for
Yeah.
all their fighters, and they said, "Dude, this."
Nice show.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Bad show, man.
That's
They've
awesome.
been to a lot of different promotions.
That's
so
awesome, man.
I respect that.
Cool.
All right, so we're gonna wind it down. Appreciate Evan for taking the time, my
Yeah,
friend,
thank you
man.
guys
You
for
know,
having me. Thank you.
fighting the crimes out there and then get a fight in the cage in a week.
Yeah.
You know, that's
superhero, man.
Yeah.
really, you know,
Shit.
definitely, man. Much respect for you. God
Appreciate
bless
it.
you, man.
Thank you.
and,
Thank you, man.
and continue to do your thing. Come home safe every night.
Thank you.
We pray for you to do that. And hey, I think what we have scheduled next week, from my understanding in the deal, that we got a green light. We're going to be doing our podcast live from the weigh-ins
Nice.
there at that. So we've done it before, and we're coming off a big weigh-in from LFA. We did it live there and had the Hall of Famer Pat Miletich on,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
Ron Crunk, and the man that said Ed Soares was our host on there too. So we're doing that, and hopefully going to make consistent. Kapat's going to come up next in December, and we're pretty tied in close with them. So
Good.
that's what we do, man. It's not about boasting about this or boasting about that. This is about facts, because we've been there. You don't see me with any paper to read.
Yeah.
I just do it from the experience and what I've done.
Right.
And you know, and we want to continue to have everybody support us like they do. Much appreciation. I know I got a lot of stuff in the inboxes and stuff about other things that are going on, and so-and-so saying stuff about this. I don't care about that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I need the energy to get through the day. So God bless you guys. Continue to spread the light. If we can have one day that we can all spread the light instead of not promoting the negative that we see, it would be a better place, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So that's a wrap. Shout out to the Spike and Rail here. Continued support from them. Glepler Digital, Eddie out there in Visay MMA. Who else do we need? 559 Fights, Touchy Palace Fights next week. If you don't get your tickets, you still have any?
Yeah, I'm still got tickets. So contact me, Facebook or Instagram, Evan Solario on Facebook, or Easy 5.0 on Instagram. You know, you can contact me for tickets. So they're going quick.
Go down and support, man. You guys want MMA, you have to support it. Keep them going. And shout out to Big Van here for coming in and watching my back like he does. And shout out to the Anaconda, Tom. Get well, brother. We continue to pray for you. And from MMA Fight Pass, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
That's how we did here, buddy.
Nice. Liked it.
I don't have no cheese.
Yeah.
I just heard a lot of people have been talking about stuff, and I like Rich. He's a good guy, but
yeah.
the guy needs to slow down a little.